Welcome to the Rare History Channel. Pablo Escobar, 15 Unbelievable Facts About the King of Cocaine. Part 1, First 7 Facts. If you like this video, we will release the second part. Pablo Escobar, you have probably been living under a rock if you are not familiar with this name. Pablo Escobar explored the dark world to such an extent that he's probably the only man that has touched the deepest point of the gangster and drug mafia. At one point of time, he became one of the richest individuals in history. And if you've watched the Netflix series Narcos, you already know what an interesting man he was. Fact number 1. King of Cocaine. Pablo Escobar earned the nickname King of Cocaine. He was the sole leader of the Medellin cartel, which he founded in 1976. The cartel soon monopolized the cocaine trade into the USA in the 1980s and 1990s. At its peak, the cartel was responsible for 80% of the cocaine sent to the US. Escobar's drug business reached to such an enormous extent that he was smuggling 15 tons of cocaine every day at one point of time in his career. He even used to smuggle cocaine in planes' tires. The pilots could earn as much as $500,000 on the basis of how much product they were smuggling. Number 2. Burnt money to keep his daughter warm. Pablo Escobar loved his daughter Manuela. She was his daughter from Manao, the 15-year-old he had eloped with. Their other child, Juan Escobar, now Sebastian Marroquin, revealed in an interview that once their family were in a hideout in the Medellin mountainside and Manuela became hypothermic. Unable to find a solution for it, Pablo Escobar burnt about $2 million to keep Manuela and the family warm. Burning crisp banknotes worth $2 million just to keep his family warm, this man was out of the world. Number 3. Richest criminal ever. Pablo Escobar was the 7th richest man in the world at the height of his career. As a result of his huge drug business, he amassed a net worth of an estimated $30 billion in 1993, which is equivalent to $64 billion in 2021. He is still the richest criminal in history, and nobody has ever come close to his reported $30 billion of wealth in the criminal world. His cartel was earning roughly $420 million in a week from their business of drugs. Pablo appeared on the Forbes list of world's richest for 7 straight years. Beginning from 1987 until his death in 1993, he was ranked by Forbes among the wealthiest men in the world. And in 1993, he reached his peak position, 7th, on the list. Number 4. Wished to become president. Pablo Escobar was not settled with the title of King of Cocaine. He wanted more power and wished to become the president of Colombia. This was revealed by Pablo's widow, and now in her memoir. It was yet another way of him saving himself from extradition to the USA. Pablo's political career had even escalated in 1982. In the Colombian parliamentary elections of 1982, Pablo was elected as a member of the Chamber of Representatives from the Liberal Party. He was an alternate member, a stand-in for another guy's seat. His political ambitions were, however, crushed by Justice Minister Rodrigo Lara Bonilla, who, in an open speech, called Pablo a drug trafficker. Escobar had to step down from the seat, and Bonilla was later gunned down in a motorcycle drive. Number 5. La Catedral. La Catedral was the name of the lavish prison built on the orders of Pablo Escobar. In 1991, Pablo reached an agreement with the Colombian government. According to the agreement, Pablo would surrender to the authorities and serve a full term of 5 years in prison, and in return, the government would not extradite him to the United States. This agreement resulted in the construction of La Catedral, the self-built prison Escobar would live in. The place cannot even be described as a prison in the truest sense. It featured a football pitch, giant dollhouse, bar, jacuzzi, and waterfall. It even featured a telescope that allowed Escobar to look down onto the city of Medellin to his daughter's residence while talking on the phone with her. Even the guards that would guard him were chosen by Pablo Escobar himself. However, the government decided to move him into a standard prison when he tortured and murdered 4 of his lieutenants within the La Catedral. Pablo refused and went on the run. It is rumored that he simply walked out of the back gate while the Colombian army surrounded the prison. So, a 600-man unit force trained by the US Delta Force, was employed to catch Pablo. Number 6. Murders and massacres. Despite the fact that he was one of the wealthiest people in history, he was a criminal. His wealth had come from heinous crimes and the biggest drug business in the world. Under his drug reign, Colombia came to be called the murder capital of the world. The country witnessed a total of 25,100 violent deaths in 1991 and 27,100 in 1992. Pablo Escobar followed a plata o plomo way of solving his problems, meaning silver, bribes, or lead, bullets. He was responsible for the deaths of as many as 4,000 individuals, including numerous police officers, judges, government officials, and journalists. The most famous tale of an example of atrocious murders by Pablo and his cartel is that in 1989, the cartel was blamed for detonating a bomb on a plane on the basis of the information that an alleged informant was traveling in it. It resulted in deaths of over 100 people. Number 7. Hacienda Nápoles, fleet of planes and submarines. Hacienda Nápoles was the name of the luxurious empire, the estate built and owned by Pablo Escobar in Puerto Triunfo, Antioquia Department, Colombia. It is situated approximately 150 kilometers east of Medellin. It was spread in an enormous 7,000 acre of land. Reportedly, it cost around $63 million and came with a built-in soccer field, dinosaur statues, artificial lakes, a bullfighting arena, an airstrip, and a tennis court. It also had a mammoth and other prehistoric animal structures made where children could play on the top. It also featured a huge hand structure. The ranch also boasted a large collection of old and luxury cars and bikes, a private airport, a bullring, and even a kart racing track. After Pablo's death in 1993, his family got into a legal tussle with the Colombian government regarding the property. The government won and the whole property was confiscated. Even Pablo's burned private car collection was confiscated by the government. By November 2006, ownership of the whole property had passed to the Colombian government and it was valued at roughly $2.23 million. Many of the private buildings were demolished and used for other purposes. While many rich men boast of huge car collections, they are little to no match for Pablo Escobar. In the late 1980s, the government seized some of Escobar's enormous fleet. The seized fleet included 142 planes, 20 helicopters, 32 yachts and 141 homes and offices. And this is not even near to the numbers that the man really owned. In addition to huge numbers of cars, planes, choppers, trucks, boats, it also included 2 submarines. The submarines were used for drug smuggling.